Welcome to the Explainer. You know, sometimes the most amazing stories are hidden in the simplest places. Take a word you've probably said 1,000 times without even thinking about it. Tray. Seems pretty boring, right? Well, it turns out it's part of this massive, kind of world-changing idea. Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's just dive right in with our word of the day, tray. I mean, on the surface, it's totally unremarkable, right? But you're about to see that its simplicity is exactly what makes it so special. And if you look it up in, say, the Simple English Wiktionary, the definition is just perfectly straightforward. There's no confusion, no ambiguity. It's a flat thing for carrying food. Yep, we all get that, instantly.
And the sound? Just as simple. Tray. One syllable. So easy to say, super easy to remember. There are no weird letters, no hidden sounds. It just sounds exactly how it's spelled. We use it all the time in perfectly normal sentences, just like this one here. It's a real workhorse of a word. It just does its job, no fuss. So far, so ordinary, right? Nothing to see here. I mean, this seems almost too simple to even talk about. What else is there to say about a tray? But there is a clue. It's hidden in plain sight, right there on its dictionary page, and trust me, it changes everything.
And this is where things get really interesting. We're looking at just a single sentence, but it's going to completely reframe how we see this word. It's just a tiny little note, but whoa, it has some huge implications.
This is it right here. This kind of cryptic little note. It's just tucked away at the top of the Wiktionary page. I mean, most people would just scroll right past it without even noticing. But this one sentence, it's like a doorway into this fascinating piece of linguistic history. So, what on earth is that? That question is what unlocks this whole story. Because this isn't just some random list of words, no way. It's a very specific, very carefully chosen collection of words with this incredibly ambitious goal. And this is where our simple little word tray becomes the key to a much, much bigger idea. Yeah, that one little line, it opens the door to this pretty radical concept. The idea that you could build a totally functional international version of English using just a tiny, tiny fraction of its massive vocabulary. And it all comes down to this number, 850. The entire system, this whole thing called Basic English, it's built on just 850 words. And these weren't just picked at random. They were carefully chosen to cover all the essentials of everyday life and thought. I mean, think about that for a second. The average English speaker knows, tens of thousands of words? And the system was saying you could get clear, effective communication with less than 1,000. It's a whole language system built on a foundation of just pure utility.
And the goal behind it was pretty revolutionary, actually. It was to create a version of English that basically anyone, anywhere in the world, could learn super quickly to talk about essential ideas, in business, science, travel, whatever. It was designed to be a bridge, a tool for understanding.
Okay, so that brings us right back to our hero word. Out of the hundreds of thousands of words in English, how in the world did our humble tray make the final cut for this super exclusive list of 850 words?
Well, this number gives us a huge clue. It turns out the Wiktionary page for tray exists in 45 different languages. That is a massive indicator of just how universal this simple concept really is.
I mean, look at this. From Arabic to Vietnamese, Swahili to Russian, the idea of a tray is something people just get all over the world. You don't have to explain the concept to someone, you just have to give them the word for it. And that makes it a perfect candidate for universal vocabulary, right? So the logic for why it was chosen starts to become really clear. First, it's a physical, concrete object. You can literally point to it. Second, like we just saw, it's easily understood across cultures. And third, it's used in common everyday actions. Serving food, carrying stuff. It is pure function. Just take a look at this example sentence. Every single important word here. Put, plate, on, the, tray, move them to room. Everyone is a simple foundational idea. This sentence is like a perfect little demonstration of the whole basic English principle in action. You're just using a handful of simple words to describe a really clear practical action. All right, so let's try and wrap this all up with our new perspective.
It's pretty cool, right? We started with just a simple, everyday object, and we've ended up uncovering this huge project in global communication.
So, yeah, we began with tray in its most literal sense, just a simple physical tool for carrying things, for carrying food and plates, a tool for physical transport. But what we found out is that tray is also a part of a much bigger tool. It's a piece of a system that was designed to carry ideas, to carry understanding all across the globe. It was chosen specifically to help transport meaning across all those cultural and language barriers. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. This whole story of tray and basic English, it's really a story about the power of simplicity. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it, in our super complex world, what's the real value of making language simple? What do we gain and what might we lose? What nuance gets left behind, but what amazing new connections are made possible? It's a fascinating trade-off, and it's all hidden inside one of the simplest words you can think of.